Hey folks, I'm Mithuna from the SPAI team. Today, I'm super excited to be walking you through agents in OneDrive together with my teammate Akash. Yeah, we'll show you how agents really make it easy to turn like a set of files into a reusable AI teammate that you can come back to anytime within your OneDrive web. So in this session, I'm going to walk you through what agents are, what they're good for, and then like show a quick demo. All right. So all of this is going to be within your OneDrive web. And this, what are agents in OneDrive? They're essentially this ability to create a reusable assistant by just using a couple of clicks, selecting a bunch of files, and creating an agent from within your OneDrive web. So essentially, you create it once, sort of give it a name, description, and then you reuse it over time. So three simple ideas to remember here. You build it, you ask a question and share your agent. Essentially, you build it once with the right set of files and then ask it repeated questions and then share it with your teammates if you need to. And also an important thing to remember with these agents, these are very similar to the agents that you create from within SharePoint. And so they have the same permission awareness by design. So people only get answers from the content if they already have access to the underlying content. So why should you make an agent, right? Like what is your use case for making agents within OneDrive Web? Um, they're super flexible. They can play different roles for you depending on like how you're using them. It could be a personal assistant, something that helps you track your day-to-day work and understand like what's changed, suggest next steps for me. What should I do next in this project? Things like that. And as a Teams assistant, it answers repeated questions for the whole group. Let's say you're tracking this project and you're essentially trying to figure out, hey, what are the risks in this project? Who are the owners? What are the next steps in the project? Then it works great as a team assistant. Or it could be even a virtual you. It makes your like knowledge available even essentially when you're not. Hey, let's say you're onboarding a new teammate. You don't have to be present. You can give them an agent instead of a set of files, and they can literally ask questions about, what is the first thing I need to learn, some FAQs, things they would ask you, they could ask this agent. So now let's bring it all together with an example here. The example here is about a delivery drone product, and I'm going to walk through how we're going to launch this delivery drone. Here, the content sort of lives everywhere. There's like licensing notes, there's cost trackers, marketing assets. There could be information, blogs, the different kind of sources that live in different places. Most of them are in your OneDrive, essentially. And then you go ahead and create an agent from your OneDrive web. I'll show you how in a minute. And then essentially you can ask it any questions so you are updated with what's going on in that launch, right? Like what is the latest cost? Did someone go and change some of this source content? So you can keep up to date with the things that matter to you without having to go and look at each of the backing data. And also you'd keep up your agent by ensuring that you have the right documents added as well to the source content. Yeah. Now I'll just walk you through a quick demo, so it kind of makes sense. All right. So this is now I'm on my OneDrive web where I can look at some of my files here. I'll start by showing you one way to create an agent. You could click on the plus button here and click on this agent icon to create an agent. What this does is it pops open this familiar builder that you'd see if you create an agent from your SharePoint. If you look at the sources, there's nothing selected here because you didn't start with a bunch of files selected already. I'm going to X out of here and try creating another way. I'm going to go to my files and the delivery drone demo content where some of my content lives. I'm going to select a bunch of files and I'm going to go to this Copilot icon on top and then select this create an agent button. And that's pretty much it. It actually pops open an agent that you can create right out of the bat, unless you want to change the name, which I think you should. And you could change the icon as well, give it some description. Also, if you go to the sources tab, you'll see how the files that you had selected show up here. And so you can either edit, change any of these things at any point in time. And another important thing to note here is you could select sources either from OneDrive or SharePoint. And then there is options to save either within OneDrive or in SharePoint. And then, as you know, there's also information here that you can customize. You could say, hey, this is a agent about delivery drones, and you could actually change one of the prompts here to say, let's see, yeah, how can I order a delivery drone service? And I can tell it to be brief. And so what you see here is you see how this agent looks as you change content. So it shows me what this agent is about. It changed the prompt that I changed here. So if this looks good, then you can go ahead and create that agent. And what happens is then it starts creating that agent for you. In this case, because I started creating an agent from my files, it stores the agent in the same place along with where the files are at. And then I have a couple of different options here. I can either talk to the agent now to ask it questions, or if I decide to share it with a bunch of teammates, I can do that too. Another thing to note here is if I create these agents from any shared folders or favorite folders, then it's stored within my files, documents, agents, rather than in the same folder because it's a view. So I'm going to do a chat with the agent and meanwhile show you a bunch of other things. You'll see how the agent that I just created shows up here. What I could also do is I could select this agent, and since it's very similar to a file, what I can do is I can pretty much go and edit it like a file. It's going to open up that builder where you make changes. I can actually delete the file or the agent file. I can even share it with my colleagues here as well. So since the agent is up, I'm going to go and ask it some questions. So I'm going to ask it, how much does a delivery drone cost? Thinking a bit this morning. So you can pretty much chat with the agent that you just created, ask it questions. You will also, so this is the BizChat window. So you'll also see that newly created agent with the OneDrive icon, unless you change the icon. It'll show up within the agents window here if you just used it or just created it. So another thing I wanted to show is how the agents live within the My Files Documents Agents folder. If you've created it from like the shared view, for example. And if you want to like filter by agent files, like you would filter by like other file types in any view within OneDrive, and you can totally do that. Go to your filter tab and then here filter by your agent, and you'll just see agent files here. So now I'm going to go ahead and edit an agent to show what that looks like. So I can go ahead and edit an agent, change its name at any point. I can also go and add and remove sources. I'm actually going to remove something here. and then I can save and close or save as in a different location as well. Um, I'm actually going to pass it on to my colleague, Akash, next, so he can talk to us about some of the nuances within this, what we call as the agent builder. Um, hey, Akash, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mithuna. Hi, all. So, what we're going to be doing now is to walk through the nuances of how OneDrive agents are going to be slightly different from the other experiences that you might encounter. Mithuna, would you be able to like navigate to that slide? Yeah, the next one. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. So, as you might have seen, while Mithuna was creating an agent, the builder was very similar to what we use in SharePoint. In fact, it is the exact same builder. What this means is that you can have these agents grounded on both OneDrive and SharePoint content. You can mix and match sources from anywhere across your tenant, and the only requirement is that you'll have to have at least read access to the documents that you're using. But please do note that when creating these agents, we don't enable any sort of transitive permissions. So if this agent is being shared with another user, the underlying sources are not shared, and this is intentionally done. So make sure that the people receiving your agent has access to the underlying sources. We do this to protect your files. But the next fact is that just like how you can ground the agent on pretty much any content in your OneDrive and SharePoint tenant, the agent can also be saved anywhere. You can start to create it from any place that you're familiar with. Though it could be the place where your files live. But after the agent is created, you can pretty much move on the .agent file to any location, be it on OneDrive or SharePoint. So this lets you start from anywhere, ground it on anything, and store it anywhere. Then coming to the kind of sources that you can add to the agent, right now we have extensively tested and enabled support for a bunch of files. Now this list is constantly being evolved, and we are working hard to make sure that the grounding on these type of file extensions work great, and we are also working on adding more. And as for the source limits, this is the only place where there's going to be a difference between whether you start to create it from SharePoint or OneDrive. So on SharePoint, as some folks might recall, we have a limit on 20 items. So an item could represent an entire site which has like hundreds of files under it. So what the agent essentially does is it does a search on all of those corpus and produces the result. But on OneDrive, we want to take a more controlled approach where we want to like set expectations right, make sure that the agent is able to get things done because it's in a personal context. These are files that you know pretty well. So over here, the limit is on the number of actual files. So if you select like two folders with 10 sources each, you would have exhausted the number of files you can add to your OneDrive agent. So this is pretty much the only difference, grounding in content on SharePoint versus grounding in content on OneDrive. But then again, being files, you can go back to this agent anytime, add new documents, you can mix and match sources from any place. And as I mentioned, the agent always assumes the asker's permission before accessing anything. So even if you share it in a broader context, you don't have to worry about people not seeing something that they should not see. So yeah, they'll only see stuff that they have access to. And there are guardrails in place when you share this agent in Teams and other surfaces. And finally, on the licensing aspect, only users with the M365 Copilot license can create and use agents in OneDrive. On SharePoint, we do have a pay-as-you-go setup, but that meter does not apply when you are operating within the context of OneDrive. Pay-as-you-go users cannot create or use agents grounded in OneDrive sources. So let's say someone has the pay-as-you-go setup for SharePoint agents. They can create it from SharePoint, but they would not be able to ground it on OneDrive sources. This is a nuance we have in terms of how licensing would work. The simple rule is that only users with M365 Copilot license can have OneDrive sources. Like that's the rule that dictates how these things work. But nevertheless, these are the nuances of how agents in OneDrive work. But they're pretty powerful out of the box. As you can see, you can start to create one in a few clicks and use it across your apps. You can use it in Copilot chat, in Teams, you can share it along, and we hope that it would provide a lot of value to users in their day-to-day flow. Next slide, please, Mithuna. Awesome. So right after this call, we want to inspire you and want to get your hands dirty on creating an OneDrive agent. So what you can do to try your first agent on OneDrive is to go to OneDrive Web, select a folder where some of your favorite files live. As you could see, all you have to do is just select those files that you want to create your agent on, right click, hit create an agent. You can customize it as you need, give it a name, save it in the location where you are or any other places you prefer, and try asking it questions to see if it's able to like get the answers up. We would appreciate if you could give thumbs up or down depending on what you think the answer, how good the answer is. And then you can also share it with a teammate. All you have to do is get a sharing link to the .agent file, just like how you would share a Word document. Send it to another teammate. They can either access that agent on Copilot chat, or you can also have that agent added as a bot to a group conversation you are having with that teammate. And you can interact with that agent in a collaborative setting. And finally, you can go back to this agent, edit it to add new sources that were not previously available, and see the agent automatically get updated across all the surfaces it's being used on. And as a idea to get you inspired, you can try creating an agent for a for every project that you're working on. So anytime you want to like just query all the information that you've gathered about a project, you could just go to that one agent and get things done. So yeah, that is what we have for OneDrive agents. A quick question. It would be great if folks can share your opinions on what you would want the agent to handle in your team when it's grounded on your personal files. That'll be a great way to inspire each other and get new stuff done. That's all we have. And finally, in the last slide, we have a few links taking us to these documentations on what these nuances are, how to operate on these entities, and also you can refer to the quick demo that we have on YouTube. Thank you all.